Okay, in this section here, we're actually going to go over the first part of the taskbar, and specifically we're going to go over Cortana, task view right here, and also the Edge browser as well. Let's go ahead and start with Cortana here, and this Cortana is essentially the personal assistant, intelligent personal assistant that comes with Microsoft or Windows 10 here. You can actually change some of her settings as well. Right here, like for instance, there's the Hey Cortana option right here. So if I want to, instead of having to hit this little microphone down here to talk to her, I can actually enable Hey Cortana. I'm going to use the microphone here real quick and talk to her, and then I'll actually enable Hey Cortana and talk to her. How much does the Earth weigh? And you'll see right here, it's a pretty nifty utility. It can definitely be fun. So you can ask her just random fact questions like, how many square feet are in an acre?
1 acre is 43,560 square feet.
So you can actually get a lot of facts from her without even having to type, really. Somebody asked if you can use her without talking, and you definitely can, or her, it, whatever you want to call it. You can actually type, but I think one of the main reasons for Cortana is, or one of the reasons why people use it is probably for the hands-free. For the PC, of course, it can be nice, which you do need a mic, but also, too, I think it really shines through on mobile apps to where you don't really want to type with a touch screen and you're maybe driving a car. It's a real easy way to maybe get a snippet of information or get directions on somewhere. I'm going to go ahead and enable that Hey Cortana feature. If I was really going to use Cortana, I would probably enable it so I didn't have to always go and hit this little microphone button down here. And right down here we have settings. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. And you can even have Cortana only talk to you by, she can actually learn your voice. And speaking of learning, she does actually keep a database on you, which really I think most of the settings here as far as traits that Microsoft keeps about you, like in the Edge browser, really there's going to be a database compiled, but especially with Cortana, that's how she kind of learns to more efficiently search for you, is by kind of learning, what you're asking for and what your favorite things are. So in saying that, Microsoft could very well change their advertising for you to try to be more effective for advertising towards you. Now, since I enabled Hey Cortana, this can actually be hands-free. So now I can go, Hey Cortana, show me places, hamburger places by Mustang. And you'll actually see right here, there's a few hamburger places. It actually probably skewed me because I actually live in Yukon, not Mustang. So it's actually looking for Yukon because it knows I live in Yukon. But you'll see how you can actually use it to look up restaurants, book flights. I'd say probably one of the most common ways I would probably using it is sending reminders like, Hey Cortana, remind me to go to bed at 10 p.m. And see, yes. And you can also set this for every day too, if you wanted to. You can also set up one-time reminders. One of the helpful areas within Cortana is probably down here on the question mark section. This kind of gives a good run-through of what Cortana is capable of as well. In order to use Cortana, you will have to have a Microsoft account, like a Hotmail account, in order to do that. Use Cortana effectively at all, really just to use her in general. The bulb here is actually just all the reminders, so I put the classes over here. We should see other ones actually pop up as well. like my other appointment should pop up here in a little bit, but you'll kind of see here, like she can help you with like finance, tips, academic, movies, travel. So there's a lot of things you can do with Cortana. I'm going to kind of leave it at that since we're limited on time. Over here in taskview, so this is the other feature I'm going to show to you in this segment. taskview is just essentially a way to multitask. So there is some similar features within Windows 7 that you can actually use that are similar to this, but they're definitely pushing it in Windows 10. So basically what I can do here is if I was given a class, let's say I'm giving a class, but maybe we stepped off to lunch, and maybe I just want to play some Candy Crush or something like that. I could actually go over to this other virtual desk, if you will, and actually play Candy Crush over here. I could also, open up another Chrome browser if I wanted to. If I wanted to maybe email my wife or something to that nature. And whenever we all got back, we can definitely go ahead and go back to the other screen here and go back to what we were doing. So that's kind of what the task view is for. And Internet Explorer here, or it's not Internet Explorer, but the Edge browser. So this is actually the new browser for Windows. Internet Explorer is sort of being replaced by this browser, but really, in fact, there's actually still Internet Explorer. Like if you go and search for Internet Explorer, you'll actually find it right here. So if you wanted to pin this to your taskbar, you could definitely do that. Pin to start or pin to taskbar. So definitely an option as far as Internet Explorer goes. Now back to the Edge browser here. One of the new features about Edge is that you can actually go and not only have favorites like you could have in the Internet Explorer, but they also have reading lists as well that are kind of neat. You can actually add this to a reading list to where you can go through your reading list at a later time and actually pick up on your reading there. I'm going to show you another example of a reading view that I find pretty neat. And looking down here, this is an article in National Geographic. I picked this article. This mainly works for article pages. If it's just a typical web page, it may not actually show up with this reading view option. But if I hit the reading view, I actually get a little bit easier to read, almost like an ebook format, where I can actually read the text. I find this kind of helpful. Another really cool feature that's now on Windows 10 is you can actually print to PDF by default. You don't have to install any applications to do this, which is kind of cool. So if I wanted to keep this PDF, I can definitely do that and possibly save it to the desktop here. You can see it right there. And definitely a neat feature. Also, too, if I wanted to send this to a friend, I could actually click on the Share Web Note icon. So I could either mail it. If I had Twitter, I could Twitter it as well, or OneNote. I could actually send it to my OneNote software that's on Windows. Somebody was asking about OneNote a little earlier in our class. Essentially what OneNote is sort of a note-taking software where you can take screenshots, clip articles to it, and just take general notes. It's not really a replacement for Word. I think Word's still better for actually making like a formal report or an essay, but OneNote can be helpful. The version of OneNote that's actually on here is a little bit watered down from the full-blown version that you'll typically find in Windows Office. And a couple of other things here. So we went over the share icon. So this hub here is basically like your reading list, where I can actually select any of these reading items. Favorites as well. I can import favorites from my old Internet Explorer browser, maybe on my old system. The little down arrow, this is your downloads. If you download anything, you should see a history of that. And also, this is my browsing history as well. Also, too, this little marker icon, this is sort of using OneNote to where I can actually highlight. So if I was going through an article and I also wanted to highlight, maybe I wanted to make a note about the sentence as well, I could actually make a note about, like Peru, wow. So I could actually make notes inside of this article, and I could even save this whole article as a OneNote document, a quick note, if you will. Or again, I could just email it to somebody as well, email or Twitter if I had it. Let's go through. Let's talk about this is the more settings, and we talked about this a little bit in class. So these are just it's almost like the toolbar really for the Edge browser, to where you can go and change your settings. And there's a couple of items that we wanted to touch on here. One was right here in settings. We were showing we were actually setting the default home page here. So how you would do that is you'd go to the more settings, then you would go down here to settings, and here in settings you'll see open with, and that's talking about when you open the browser, the Edge browser, what web page do you see. What we would choose is select a specific page or pages, then we would choose custom, and then we just put in if we want to change it to Google for our home page, we could put google.com as far as our beginning web page. You can really do any web page you want. Like somebody asked about Yahoo, well, I can do Yahoo just as easily as I could do Google. In fact, I can really have both of them there as well. So if I exit out right now, close all, go back into Edge, you'll actually see Yahoo and Google pop up. So you can also have as many tabs as you want, for that matter, as far as home pages go, or what you would call a home page. They're almost drifting away from that term here. One other thing too that we went over is if we wanted to change our default search engine. So if you just open up a new tab here, you'll notice there's a little bar here. So of course you can put in an email address here, but or not an email address, but a web page here, like www.cnn.com, or really just cnn.com at this point in time. You can put in any page there and go to that page, but also really it's serving as a search engine. So if I do Yahoo, or just type in Yahoo itself, it's actually searching with Google because I've already set it to Google. By default, though, it's going to be Bing, and I know a lot of people don't like Bing. How I would change that is I'd go to settings, scroll all the way down, there's advanced settings, then I would search an address bar with this section here. It's about halfway through the side tab here. Hit change, and go ahead, and you do have to go to Google at least once in your browser for this option to pop up. Just like how Yahoo's here. The only reason why Yahoo's here is because it just come up, and it says that it's actually been discovered recently. So make sure you go to Google or Yahoo before you actually add it as a search engine, or it won't even show up here. So that's essentially Edge here. I do like it a little bit better than IE, and that ends this section.